All right, I wanted to talk about New York City again and what's going on there, um, and what what it's a warning, I guess, to New York. Um, I really don't want to bring this up as an idea, but I don't really think anybody watches my channel. But if you do, the idea has already been brought up, so I'm gonna talk about it because it's already out in the open. It's what happened. I think it was the Dark Knight Rises, when I think it was a Joker blew the bridges, or they forced the military to blow the bridges. Um, the problem, just like Gotham, with New York City, is it's an island, so you can't get off of it without bridges in a car. You'd have to take a boat or a plane or something. Um, the people that aren't really on board with what's going on in New York City, that still live there, uh, I would I would I would warn you to maybe get off of the island for a little while and see how this plays out. A good idea might be to put some boats or like ferries maybe, um, as a um, a a fail safe until if the unthinkable happens. Um, it'll be like that would be an actual situation where you have refugees, not like fake refugees. They're in danger. Um, so maybe putting them on the boats, and I don't even think they're going to be safe like in the US right off the bat. They'll probably have to leave them out in the ocean maybe and bring them food and water, or the military will have to like create a camp or something. But the people in New York, I'm afraid that. See, I was saying yesterday about the Dunning-Kruger effect and how the ideas of Mamdani are dumb. I mean, they're in you know what I mean, like in actual theory, I think, unless he can, like I said, unless he can actually pull this off. But my my fear is that Mamdani is not dumb, and there's an ulterior motive here. Where he's turning New York on itself. Um, and that's a possible scenario. It seems like a lot of New Yorkers are kind of fleeing to Staten Island to get the fuck out of there. Um, I mean, that's an island too, but it's not like in the heart of the craziness. But the people on Staten Island, they they are probably think planning a way to take the city back. And we have the Second Amendment, so there's people have guns, and in a socialism situation, a lot of times they like to take away the guns because for whatever, so people don't kill each other. But um, yeah, especially like the women and children, I guess I would get the fuck off the island. Unless you're like radical and you're standing up for whatever it is, you're gonna probably get annihilated, because of what you believe in. And unfortunately, that's probably one of the better scenarios. Because if this gets out of hand, and other cities start doing it before they see how this plays out, the same thing will happen. And then it'll be nuts, I think. That's just a scenario that could happen. So I guess that's my warning. Like, a lot of people don't understand that New York City is like an island. So you have to, just like I said, it's like Gotham. You have to have bridges, which they have a lot of, and big ones, and double deckers, and all that kind of stuff. And that's why they do. So I'm really afraid that he's not dumb, and he may have an ulterior motive of dividing the United States and creating basically like a civil war. I saw the movie Civil War. There was a new one out. It was really good. Maybe you watch that and see what this could turn into, possibly. So Jesse Plemons in the movie is like a deep South Confederate ideology wise dude that's like, he's just killing everybody that isn't an American in his mind. And that's what he starts questioning these people about where they're from. And if he doesn't like the answer, he kills them. So that's kind of that's another thing that I didn't really talk about that could be true, is if Mamdani is actually smart. Because he obviously doesn't like the way the U.S. is run. But it just seems fishy because he didn't even come here till 2018. I think he came from like Uganda. So it's not like he grew up in the U.S. and he's trying to become the change that the U.S., he sees the U.S. needing. I'm afraid that he is doing this on purpose to kill Americans. So I guess I'm urging other cities to wait and see how this plays out before you go ahead and try to do the same thing. Because let's see how it plays out first. Because I think it's going to play out differently than you think it is. The people that are kind of on board with the socialism in the United States. So, yeah. I think everybody needs to stop and read the Constitution right now. And the reason why it was written in such a manner. The reason we have guns isn't so we can shoot each other. It's because of tyranny. And that if you have the wrong people in power, they can use the military against their own people. So that's why we have the Second Amendment. And see, like all these rules that he's trying to break that are in the Constitution are there for a reason, and it's to protect the public from the government being corrupt and doing stuff that is and going against their own people. So and and the Constitution is basically all about that. Um, it was built on the reasons we didn't want to be like Great Britain. It's not like they were. I don't know that they weren't socialists, but they were just saying they could see how the government can get out of hand, and they knew that. So that's why they created, the Constitution and all that stuff. So anyway, just I guess be careful, especially around these big cities right now, in case something crazy happens.